everybody, Tara here. Thank you for joining me for another Crafting with Curly Cues video. Today I have a mini Simon Says stamp haul from their Steals and Deals page, and then I'm going to make this really cute card with some Paper Mania stamps and some Prismacolor coloring, and also the Mama Elephant pop-up trio dies. So here's that haul I got from Simon Says Stamp from their Steals and Deals page. This is a mini heart stencil. Love this stencil. I think it's so cute. And then I have some frames dies, and I'm really excited about these because they're going to help me with my layouts, and I'm actually going to use one of these dies on the project today. This is my very first 6x6 background stamp that I've ever owned, so I'm really excited to try that out. It was on a really great sale, so I thought, why the heck not? Simon Says stamp pockets, because use those all the time, and I just got a fuse tool, so I'm sure I'll be going through these bad boys pretty quickly. And then my most exciting find on the Steals and Deals was that the ever generous Heidi at Simon Says Stamp had the brand new Mama Elephant Tandem Ride and Tandem Extras, like really greatly priced, as well as the Party Animals set from W+9 with the coordinating dies. So I was a happy girl. I gotta tell you, this was a major score. So anyway, let's jump into this project here. I'm gonna take this really cute little meow set from Paper Mania, Do Crafts Paper Mania, and then I'm gonna take the pop-up trio dies from Mama Elephant, and as you can see, these are brand new. I haven't used them before. I've seen lots of great videos where people make really adorable projects with these, and I figured I'd give it a try. These dies are really inexpensive, and it's a really great way to add a lot of flair and a kind of wow factor to your cards. So I'm just trimming up all the little pieces. I wanted to show you guys how easy it is to take these dies apart when you get them. They all come connected together, but I have these little snips from my foray into jewelry making that didn't last, but I ended up with this handy tool, and you can just snip off all those little pieces so that the dies come right apart. So that is some Audrey Blue cardstock from Simon Says Stamp, and I am just running that through my Big Shot machine and producing that little tiny skinny little rectangle there. And so now that I have that cut out, I'm going to go ahead and form the inside of my card. So when you're using these pop-up trio dies, you need a panel to go on the inside of your card so that you can create the pop-up portion. So what I'm doing is I'm trimming this piece of Audrey Blue cardstock, Simon Says Stamp cardstock, down to 10.5 by 3.75 inches. And what I'm doing there is leaving 1/4 of an inch border all the way around the inside of my card. So then I'm going to score it here at 5 1/4. And that's going to leave me, like I said, that nice white border all the way around my card. So then I'm going to go ahead and fold that over. And then I'm going to take these little dies, and I'm going to go ahead and take some Post-it tape, and that's going to help me line it up correctly. So the way that the dies work is they cut solid lines down the side, and then they're going to perforate the top, bottom, and the middle. So you want the middle perforation to line up with the crease in your card so that it can pop up. So I just use my Post-it tape on the back side of that die to mark where that perforation mark is, and then line that top of my Post-it tape up with my crease, and then ran it through my Big Shot. I did cut 2 here, but I didn't end up using the second one, so you'll see later that I kind of pop that back in. But you can see how those just pop up nicely, and it's going to create a little spot to stick my second kitty on so that it pops up. And the trio comes with that longer one as well, so you have all different ranges for different stamps that you want to pop up on the inside of your card, so it's pretty cool. So this is some Nina Solar White 110-pound cardstock, and I'm just preparing the card base, and this is a normal A2 size card base, and it's going to be top folding so that that inside panel that we created can fit inside there. And this is going to be a pretty clean and simple card, and I'm actually going to do my stamping directly onto the front of the card, which is not something that I do very often. But since I am using Prismacolors and gamsol, it's not going to bleed through, so I can just stamp right on the top. So I have my Ranger Archival ink, and the reason that I'm using that ink is because it doesn't bleed when you get it wet, and because I will be doing the gamsol technique, my paper is going to be getting a little bit wet, so I don't want my ink to be all smushing around. So here are these adorable kitties that come in this little stamp set. This is my first Do Crafts Paper Mania stamp set, and I'm pretty pleased. I gotta say, these little kitties are quite precious. So I'm just kind of making sure that everything's going to fit inside that super thin Audrey frame there that we cut out. And so I'm going to start with this little yarn ball. You can see on the side that I stamped it off quite a few times to get it ready to stamp, because it's a brand new stamp set and you like to get them warmed up there. And then I stamped my other kitty on a separate sheet of paper. I stamped it a couple times. I didn't like the way the first one went. And then my sentiment. So this is what I use instead of gamsol. Gamsol, I believe, is a brand name for this thinner here. So I went ahead and just bought a generic brand at Fred Meyer. So that's what I have. So these are the paper stumps, blending stumps. I don't know the exact word for them, but you can find them in the art section, like at Walmart. And so then I have my blending Prismacolor pencil, and then this is some sandpaper, and this is how I get the color off the end of my paper stumps, is just to scribble it on that sandpaper, and it'll take the color off so that you don't end up with your colors mixed together. I love this technique. This is kind of the first fancy coloring technique that I learned when I started stamping about a year ago. And I started my Prismacolor collection out with the 12 pack, and then I bought the 24 pack, and then I bought the 48 pack, and then for Christmas last year, the hubby got me the ginormous Mondo, like every color under the sun pack, so I'm pretty excited. But for a while, this was all I had. I didn't have Copics, and I didn't have, you know, my fancy zig markers and all that stuff. So this is kind of how I learned to do my stamp coloring, and it's still one of my favorite ways to color, and I just love the soft effect that you can get. So what you can see is I'm just putting down a layer of color, and I'm not being super careful about where it goes. I'm just kind of putting it where I want it to be the darkest and just scribbling it on. So then I take one of these stumps, dip the end in the gamsol, which I have in a teacup there, you can see. And then I just use tight little circles to go over the top of it. And what this is going to do is it's just going to blend all that color together and make it look like there are no pencil lines, no stroke lines, and you can kind of pull it out into the white space so you get a nice fade on your color. So I want this little kitty to be gray with kind of a white face. So I am leaving the face like white, but you could put another color there and kind of blend them together, or you could go in and add shadowing with this. I mean, there's just kind of a whole world of possibilities that you can do with this technique, and it just makes things look really, really soft when you're done, really professional. I think it's really just a fun technique. And Prismacolor pencils, if you haven't used them, are like, they color like butter. I mean, they just smooth glide on there, and it's definitely different than when you're a little kid with your Crayolas, that's for sure. I didn't realize that color pencils could be that drastically different, but let me tell you, Prismacolors are kind of in a whole world of their own here. So I am making this kind of a tiger stripe kitty. I do have a black kitty with tiger stripes myself. I also have an orange one with tiger stripes. I don't have a gray one with tiger stripes, but I decided to go with the gray, and I think that this little precious kitty turned out so sweet. I love this little stamp set. I think it's just adorable. I'm just using 3 different shades of gray, and to be honest with you, it's the gray tones that really made me want the ginormous, ridiculously large set of Prismacolors, because there's really no grays in any of the smaller sets that I had. So every time I wanted gray, I was having to try to very lightly color in black and blend it out. So I do like having my gray options. So this is Gray Kitty. I'm taking advantage of those grays there. So I'm just going to go ahead now and take a little pale pink color and give Kitty some blush cheeks and color in her little ears there. Just add a little pop of color for her. I love those little yarn balls too. Like, she's so sweet. Like, I didn't do that. I don't know. It's one of those cards where it's a thank you card with kitties. I guess you give it to somebody that likes kitties to say thanks. I don't know. I think it's super sweet though. Love them to death. So I'm using all different sizes of those little blender stumps, and that really just kind of depends on your preference. You could probably get away with just using one, but I just have a couple packs. I got them really inexpensive at Walmart, and I don't like when they start to get a little bit dull, because I like to be able to be really precise with them. So that's why I have so many there, but I sped up the second kitty pretty quick because it's the exact same technique that I used on the first kitty. So I wanted to give you guys another chance to peek at that coloring technique, but it is the same. So I went ahead and just put that a little bit faster so we can kind of get through the coloring. And this little kitty, I'm giving kind of some black chunks, and then it's going to fade out into gray. I was just kind of playing with my pencils and seeing what I could come up with. I'll be honest, even though this is my original form of coloring, and one that I still very much enjoy, once I started getting Copics, I kind of veered off on a Copic tangent for a while there, and I haven't honestly gone back and done any Prismacolor coloring in quite a while. I've used my Prismacolors on craft, which I'm definitely going to have to do a video with. That is one of my all-time favorite techniques. I think it turns out so amazing. But I haven't done the gamsol thing in like ages. So I was actually pretty excited that I still remembered. It's totally like riding a bike. So yay. So anyway, I finished coloring this little kitty, and then I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut her out, and I'm going to leave a little bit of white space around there so that I can make sure that I get the little yarn on the ball, because she is going to be popped up on the inside of that cool pop-up card that we're creating here. So now that I've got that all done, I'm going to go ahead and put a whole bunch of tape runner on the back of this inside panel, and you want to just be really careful that you don't put any adhesive behind the little pop-up squares, otherwise they're going to get all stuck together and they're not going to pop up anymore. So you want to put adhesive everywhere else, but not right behind the pieces that are supposed to pop up. So then I just folded this in half, and I don't know if this is the best method. This is my first card using these dies, so I wasn't exactly sure how to go about this. So I folded it in half and I lined it up with the crease, and then I just smushed the top down on top of there and got that all nice and pressed in. And it seemed to work really well, with the one disadvantage of it won't lay flat because it's not quite all the way in that crease, but it still works, and I didn't think that was a problem. So I'm going to use my Ranger Multi-Medium Matte, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue on that big pop-up, and then I'm just going to press this kitty inside there. And you can see now that she's nice and stuck, and you can see I just popped that little one in. I thought it was going to touch. Apparently my spatial skills were not on, because obviously it wasn't as long when you look at it, but I did it anyway. So anyway... and then to apply this little itty bitty thin frame, I'm just kind of rubbing some of that adhesive all over my finger and then rubbing it on the back of the frame. And then I'm using my tweezers to help me line this up. And I'll be 100% honest with you guys, this did not stick very well by the time I got over there. Most of my multi-matte medium had dried already. So I ended up having to kind of do some little spot gluing and stick some little dots underneath all the corners and stuff. But I didn't show you guys that because, you know, I figure you know how to spot glue. So, but I got it on there, so it's stuck. So now here's just some little finishing touches, tricks. So these are my Jelly Roll pens, and I've got my black one here, and I'm just covering up the black parts of those kitties' eyes because they didn't stamp super solid. And this is really going to make their eyes pop. And then I use my Wink of Stella on the yarn balls. But then after that black dries on their eyes, I'm going to go back in with my white Jelly Roll, and I'm going to put that white... I don't know, highlight, I guess is what it is, in their eyes back in. I had to reference the stamp set to see which direction this kitty was looking. I couldn't remember. And so that's really going to make these kitties kind of pop, because now the black in their eyes is really good, nice and solid, and then the white is nice and vibrant on top of that black. And it really just kind of adds an extra little flare there. So I did the same thing for Miss Kitty on the front here. And then I took my Wink of Stella over those yarn balls also. After I got all done with the video and everything, I did add a couple little wood veneer hearts and colored them to match that Audrey Blue frame. And then I put some stickles on the yarn balls because I felt like it needed just a little bit more pizzazz. But you can see how you open it up and little Miss Kitty's playing with her yarn in there. So I thought that was just a really cute, fun way to do a card. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed this. I appreciate you stopping by to watch my videos. If you enjoyed what you're seeing, please go ahead and hit subscribe. I'm getting a few subscribers going, and I'm thinking a giveaway might have to happen soon. So check back for that. Also, don't forget the thumbs up. I'm going to list all the supplies that I used here on my blog, so go ahead, visit curlycues.blogspot.com. I'm on Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram. And then here are some more cards for you guys. One's got a different kind of coloring with the zig markers, and then one is a clean and simple card like this one, and it's got some Copic coloring, so all different coloring techniques for you.